I've had enough. Yeah, I've had enough of this horse shit. I don't give a shit what kind of law you make. I ain't going to follow it. I ain't paying my taxes this year. I just don't even care. I'm not going to be ruled by tyrants. I'm done. No taxes. I'm not following your goddamn laws that you make that are arbitrary and unconstitutional. I just ain't doing it. I've had fucking enough of your bullshit. Washington State, Oregon, California, kiss my ass.
Hello guys, welcome once again to AfriPost. I hope wherever you are, you're having a great time. Now, during the 2024 elections in America, most whites voted knowing that they were voting for their person, they were voting for somebody who will really work to preserve and look after their interests. One of the major things that they wanted to be implemented is that the borders were supposed to be secure and immigrants coming to United States were not supposed to be allowed. But then, they didn't know that the aftermath of whatever they wanted would have negative impacts for them. Now, there are white farmers in the United States who are starting to complain. They're crying all over. Those with the huge farms who are benefiting from immigrant labor, they are saying, where are our farmers? Where are our people? Where is the labor that we used to get? Because Trump and ICE are rough on any immigrant. They don't want people who are not US citizens working or even living in the United States. And this has sent shockwaves among all immigrant communities who have been working in the United States. So they're not turning up to their farms and they're saying, we cannot come because if we come, the ICE people will come and have us arrested. This is having a negative impact on the farm output of these farmers, and they're saying, Trump promised to make us rich, but it seems the policies that he's implementing are going to turn us to be poor. I want you to watch this compilation of clips that I've made over this issue. Then we shall talk in the end. Let's watch.
Well, my friends, our farmers are in full-blown crisis, and it's not because of Mother Nature. It's because of Donald Trump's reckless tariffs that have torched decades of trade relationships and handed America's agriculture future to China and Brazil on a silver platter. 12,000 tons of pork canceled. Soybean exports collapsed, and family farms are now shutting down. And it doesn't stop there. Longshoremen, truckers, warehouse workers, entire communities are being gutted. This didn't have to happen, but Trump wanted a trade war. He wanted headlines, and now our farmers are paying the price while China laughs its way to the Brazilian soybean fields. And to make it worse, farmers who sign contracts with their own government, they're being stiffed, left holding the bag. So let me be clear. I will fight like hell to rebuild our rural economy, restore fair trade, and make sure American farmers never again become pawns in a MAGA publicity stunt. This district deserves better. America deserves better. Are you ready to fight back? My name is Doug Hune, and I'm a Democrat, congressional candidate in California's 3rd District. Please share this video, follow me, and donate to my congressional campaign. Link is down below and also my profile. Thank you so much for your support.
I've had enough. Yeah, I've had enough of this horse shit. I don't give a shit what kind of law you make. I ain't going to follow it. I ain't paying my taxes this year. I just don't even care. I'm not going to be ruled by tyrants. I'm done. No taxes. I'm not following your goddamn laws that you make that are arbitrary and unconstitutional. I just ain't doing it. I've had fucking enough of your bullshit. Washington State, Oregon, California, kiss my ass. I ain't following no more laws. No more new laws that don't make no sense. Your little snitch line and all your bullshit you got going on, I'm not doing it. I'm not funding your scams and your NGOs and your fucking bullshit. Your wars, your thieving. Yeah, thieving. You loudmouth politicians that don't give a fuck about the common person. I'm done. I've had enough. I am no longer going to participate in your horse shit. And I don't give a fuck what you try to take from me. I come into this world with nothing. I'll go out with nothing. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you and fuck off. And on top of that, you best leave me the fuck alone, because you won't like the results if you come out here and try to stomp on my neck. It won't end well. I'm old. And I'm mean as fuck. Leave me alone.
So you want to deport everyone, huh? In 2011, North Carolina needed 6,500 farm workers. Only 268 legal Americans applied. 245 were hired, but only 163 showed up to the first day. Worse, only 7 lasted till the end of the growing season. Migrant workers aren't taking your jobs. They're doing the jobs you would never do. And while they're doing that, they're paying taxes into Social Security, which they will never get back. And you want to deport them all. Have fun working on the farm.
Sweet. This is Dustin Machia or Machia. He owns a dairy farming business out in Vermont. The business name is Machia and Sons. He has 11 migrant workers that helps him tend to the cows at 2 locations that's attached to Machia and Sons farms. Dustin voted for Donald Trump, and I'm sure you've already guessed why he voted for Donald Trump. We need to get the gangbangers out of this country. The rapists and the murderers, we need to get them out of this country. Also because Donald Trump and his economy, his policies for the economy. You can read all about Dustin and what's going on in the state of Vermont with ICE and the migrant workers. You can read about it here. Yeah, Dustin is now upset with Donald Trump because ICE is in Vermont arresting migrant workers and deporting them. And so a lot of his workers that was working on his farm in those 2 locations, they've disappeared. They're afraid of getting picked up by ICE and being deported to a country that they are not from. And so now Dustin is not happy because he and Sons have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to milk and tend to the cows. Dustin says, quote, "These guys work 6 12-hour days. They don't care about having Christmas off and this and that off. It's a 24/7 job. We don't get the ability to shut down the place for a week. We're dealing with living, breathing creatures," end quote. And so in the article, the reporter asks him if he's worried about his business. This is what Dustin had to say. Quote, "I'm very worried about it. It's not sustainable to not have migrant farm workers. Farming would be very bleak and the cost would skyrocket in the grocery store because you can't pay an American to do this job anymore. Americans just don't want to do this job without the foreign labor. It's just not sustainable." The article also says that Machia and Sons in Sheldon, Vermont employs 11 migrant farm workers to milk about 1,400 cows on 2 farms. The work is dirty, dangerous, and unrelenting. He recognizes the value in the undocumented migrant worker, but he went into the voting booth to vote to have undocumented immigrants removed from the country. I don't care about Dustin and his Machia and Sons dairy farming business. Hell, he didn't even care about his business. He went into the voting booth and voted against the successful business that he's had for years. And this has been the latest edition of Fuck Around and Find Out. Sweet.
Why in the fucking world would you be in support of taking from the fucking lower class, the people who fucking need the help, people who don't have the fucking money, people who don't have anything? You're gonna take from them and give to the fucking wealthy. Why the fuck would you be in support of that? What the fuck has the ultra wealthy done for you? What have they done for you? What? Why would you be in support of taking away from regular ass people like me and you and give to those who are in a whole different tax bracket, a whole different world, a whole different reality than me and you. And you're going to be in support of that? You're going to be in support of taking away from elders and disabled people and the poor people and the working class, regular ass people who need the fucking help? And you're going to say, nah, fuck them. Fuck them. Who gives a shit about them? Really? Really? You know where this anger stems from so much? Because I'm a fucking human with a heart, for one, and then also, I was in the healthcare field. I was a healthcare worker for 6.5 years. 6.5 fucking years. I know what it's fucking like in the healthcare field. I know what it's like for elders and people who are living in assisted living communities and rehab centers and hospitals and people who rely on Medicaid and Medicare to live and to pay for their services, to pay for their home. Because that's what I was in for 6 years. That was my job. I would go to these people's homes and I would take care of them. Look at that. Made my fucking chest red. I mean, how can I not be angry? The fuck? And for the people who can watch a person like me talk about something like this and to try and act like I'm dramatic or I'm being too much. The fuck? You're being too fucking little. Have a fucking spine. Have a fucking heart. Would you give a shit if it was your dad who was gonna be affected by this? Would you care then? What if it was your sister? What if it was your 7-year-old cousin? What if it was your grandma? What if it was your teacher? What if it was your college friend? What if it was your coworker? What if it was your neighbor down the street? Oh, would you give a shit then? Would you give a shit then? I don't understand how people can act so fucking oblivious and act so unbothered. I can't imagine going back to the facilities that I've worked at and seeing the clients that I've worked with and asking them face to face, how is this going to affect you? Are you going to be okay? So what's going on with you? I can't fucking imagine hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, of my own clients, of my own people that I've taken care of, that I know by name, that I know who is going to be affected by this fucking bill. I was raised by my grandmas.
When I say I would quite literally rather burn everything I own and then piss and shit on the ashes and then go live in the fucking mountains before I ever paid reparations, I mean that. Fucking mountains before I ever paid reparations, I mean that.
There's absolutely nothing you have in your life that I want. There's nothing you have in your life that any black person wants. The conversation around reparations is too big for minds as small as yours. You think we want yo shit. Lady, I have better shit in my house than you have in your life. The fuck makes you think I want yo shit? But you do go to banks, don't you? You do invest, don't you? You do pay insurance, don't you? You see, small-minded ass people like you keep grabbing your purses anytime the word reparations comes around. As if America hasn't done it before. They have. And it's like we're coming for your shit. You don't have anything. The only thing you have in life is your pride in the fact that the sun is your greatest enemy. You'd have to have something for us to want it. And we don't. See, this is why that reparations conversations it's too big for you. You have a very limited. Why don't you sit this one out? Sit it out. Leave this to people who have more education, understand economics more, understand history more than you. Just shh. The adults are talking. Be quiet.
Hello guys, welcome back again to the channel. Now, the recent intensified immigration and custom enforcement raids across the United States have significantly disrupted the agricultural labor force, particularly in states with large-scale farmers. White large farmers, many of whom heavily rely on immigrant labor, are expressing increasing concerns over labor shortages. These farms often depend on undocumented or semi-documented migrant workers to perform physically demanding tasks such as planting, harvesting, and packing produce. Work that is both seasonal and low-paying, yet critical to the food supply chain. With the rise in ICE activity, many migrant workers are either avoiding farm jobs altogether or are fleeing regions where raids have become more frequent, making it increasingly difficult for farmers to maintain a steady workforce. The fear of arrest and deportation among undocumented workers has led to a sharp decline in the availability of agricultural labor. Migrant workers, many of whom have worked in United States agriculture for years, are now reluctant to take jobs that require public visibility or travel across county lines, both of which increase their risk of apprehension. The resulting labor vacuum has caused delays in harvesting and processing crops, leading to economic losses for farmers who are unable to meet production quotas or fill contracts with retailers and distributors. Perishable goods like fruits and vegetables are especially vulnerable, and in many cases crops are left to rot in the fields due to lack of manpower. Despite efforts to hire domestic labor, many American workers are unwilling to take on these physically taxing low-wage jobs that migrants have traditionally filled. Farmers have tried raising wages and offering bonuses, but these measures have only marginally improved the situation. The issue is compounded by the fact that the United States agricultural system has for decades structured its business model around access to cheap, reliable migrant labor. A sudden disruption in this labor supply caused by increased ICE enforcement jeopardizes not just individual farms, but the broader agricultural economy that depend on affordable labor or keep food prices low and profit margins sustainable. For many white large-scale farmers, this situation presents a painful irony. Some supported stricter immigrant enforcement under political platforms that promise broader security and domestic job protection, only to now realize that the critical role undocumented immigrants played in sustaining their operations has been jeopardized. The clash between political ideology and economic necessity is forcing a reckoning within rural agriculture communities. Many farmers are now advocating for reforms such as expanded guest worker programs or pathways to legal work status, recognizing that a stable, accessible migrant labor force is not just a convenience, but a cornerstone of American agriculture. So that is what is happening. If I highlight for you the kind of challenges that white farmers are currently facing, you'd really understand why they are now pissed off with President Trump, and they're saying Trump is coming out and is willing to really make them poorer instead of making them richer as they wanted. It is a cocktail of issues that is going on, and I think it is made that decision. Live by it and let them face their consequences as they have always had it. So tell us in the comment section what to think about this. And if you're watching us for the first time, please consider subscribing to the channel, like the video, and let's meet in the next one. Goodbye.